So, chances are, if you're looking at a budget 10-inch tablet this holiday season, you're probably looking at one of three choices: the newly released iPad of 2020, the Amazon Fire HD 10, or this Samsung Galaxy Tab A7. And I've reviewed the other two, so I'll put links to those so you can check them out. But now it's time to check out the Samsung Galaxy Tab A7. So let's open this up here. The first thing you'll see when you open it up is the tablet that's wrapped in a Samsung cloth. We'll take this out, we'll check out what else is in here. You have the user manuals down here and a quick reference guide. And then you also have a charging cord and then a wall adapter. So let's take the tablet out of the cloth here, and it feels very, very nice. It's nice and thin. It's only 7 millimeters thick. It weighs only 1.05 pounds, which is kind of typical for a tablet this size to be around that 1 pound mark. It has this nice, durable metal body with a great color, great finish to it, and the edges are rounded off that feel great to hold. And honestly, between this, the iPad, and the Fire HD 10, this one I think is my favorite to hold. I think it feels the best in the hand. Setup is really simple. All you have to do is log into your account, connect to Wi-Fi, download some updates, and you're pretty much good to go after that. Maybe 5 to 10 minutes to actually set this up. All right, so let's go over some of the hardware specs here. So for a display, you're looking at a 10.4-inch 2000 by 1200 ultra widescreen display. You have quad Dolby Atmos surround sound speakers, 2 on each side. And this is a big improvement over last year's model where they just had the 2 stereo speakers on the bottom. There is a micro SD card reader for expandable storage. There are 2 ports on this. One is a USB port, the other one is a headphone jack. You have an 8 megapixel camera on the front, a 5 megapixel camera on the back. And what Samsung did this year is that they moved the front-facing camera to the side so that when you're holding it in landscape mode, the camera is on top. This is just much more natural to have a web conference call when the camera is on top and the tablet is in landscape mode. For internals, you have a Qualcomm octa-core processor, 3 gigabytes of RAM, which is one more than last year's. And I went with the 32 gigabyte storage model just because it has that expandable storage, so I can always add an SD card if I need more. So that kind of covers the specs and the features. Let's go into the review because I've been using this for a while and I have some pros and I have some cons. The first pro is definitely the screen and the build. The screen is beautiful, it gets very bright, it can be used outside, has very rich colors. And while it's not an AMOLED display, it's still a very nice screen, especially considering the price of this device. And as mentioned earlier, I just love the feel of this. Everything feels very premium. It feels great to hold in the hand. I think the roundness of the corners is perfect. It's not quite as chamfered as like the iPad is, but it's a little bit more rounded, a little bit more comfortable to hold in the hand. And a big plus this year is the addition of biometric scanning, meaning that you can actually use your face to log into this. And when I first saw this feature, I thought it was going to be horrible. Facial recognition on a budget tablet, I thought it was never going to work or be cheaply made. But honestly, it's awesome and it works almost every single time. I'm super impressed with it. And if you don't want to use your face, you can still use your PIN or a password or anything like that. The bezels are a little bit thicker than some of the newer Samsung tablets, but honestly, they don't bug me at all, and they're actually a lot smaller than the iPads with that top and bottom chin that the iPad has. These are perfect size. I have a place to put my thumbs, and it doesn't really bother me. Another thing that I really love is the expandable storage, and something I wish iPads would do, because there's a lot of times you go into a purchase not knowing how much storage you're going to need or how much you're going to use or how long you're going to use that tablet for. So the option to go with a lower storage option, pay less, and then get a SD card if you need it is such a big plus. The new quad Dolby Atmos speakers on this device are awesome as well. I love listening to music on this. I love watching shows on this. In my opinion, this has the best speakers for any budget 10-inch tablet out there. I also really like and appreciate they added 1 more gigabyte of RAM to this. It makes it so much better than last year's model because you can have more apps open, you can multitask better. Last year's, if you had too many apps open or if you were trying to multitask and switch in and out of apps, things would start to really slow down and stutter and crash. This year, I don't notice that as much. And when it comes to performance, listen, we're talking about budget tablets here. We're not talking about a laptop replacement or doing 4K video editing or anything like that. Because if you're thinking that that's what this will do, you're sorely mistaken and this will definitely disappoint you. Budget tablets are for web browsing. They're for video watching, movies, TV shows, YouTube, that sort of thing. Social media, maybe like gaming, emailing, those type of tasks. And they're really aimed at people like students, they're aimed at people like kids, and they're aimed at adults that when they're done with their work duties and they want to just leave their computer, they can grab a tablet, quickly web surf, watch a video, something like that. And when you're doing those tasks, this performs very well. It's a fantastic media consumption device. But if you try to do too much on this, if you try to open up too many apps at the same time, if you try to do really intensive gaming or video editing, it's going to start to slow down, it's going to start to stutter and probably crash. And that's what I've noticed in my review is that when I'm doing things like watching videos, going to Netflix, going to Prime Video, going to social media, doing emailing or web browsing, it works fantastically. And like gaming works on this really well. A lot of the games from the Play Store will work great. Some of the more intensive ones like PUBG or Call of Duty might start to slow down a little bit, and actually PUBG crashed on me a few times, but for the most part they're still playable, but again they're a little bit more intensive, so they might stutter a little bit and you might have a little bit more glitch going on there. Battery life has also been fantastic. Now, you're rarely using a tablet for 8, 9, 10 hours at a time with normal usage. You're typically doing something on it and then you set it down and it's in standby for a while, you come back to it. I typically use this maybe an hour or two per day, and I only have to charge it twice per week, which is awesome. If I had to put a number on this, I would say I get 8 to 10 hours of usage on this before I have to charge it. So overall, if you're looking for a budget tablet this holiday season, this one should strongly be considered. And a lot of people will ask, well, is it better than the iPad? Or is it better than the Fire HD 10? And that's a tough thing to answer because there's a lot of other factors that go into play. For instance, if you're already in the Apple ecosystem or the Amazon ecosystem, and what might be a better quote unquote feature for one person might not be a better feature for another. For instance, having a face scanner on the Galaxy Tab might be better for some people, but some people might still prefer Touch ID on the iPad. Also, price comes into play here too, because you have the iPad that starts at $330, this one starts at $230, and then the Fire HD 10 starts at $150. So while you might think one of these is better than the other, or slightly better than the other, you also have to determine whether that slight upgrade is worth the extra money. But if you're asking for my opinion, I would say that the Samsung Galaxy Tab A has the best build between the iPad and the Fire HD 10. I think the processing power is pretty much on par with the Fire HD 10, while I think the iPad is much better than both of those at the processing power. It's much faster, much more snappy, and is better at multitasking. So if I'm buying a tablet strictly to consume media and just do really lightweight tasks, I'm buying the Samsung Galaxy Tab A and saving some money. But if I want something that's a little bit faster, has a little bit snappier processor, can do a little bit more multitasking, more intensive gaming, then I'm going with the iPad. But overall, guys, I think all three of these are great and they all have their own purpose. So I don't think you can really go wrong unless you're trying to do too much with all three of these. Then probably bump up to something higher. But I hope this helps you make a buying decision. Thanks again for watching, everyone. Please like, subscribe, and comment. I really appreciate it all. I'll catch you guys in the next video.